Beyond 3D.
Saturday evenings in and around the peninsula, welcome to this week's edition of Beyond 3D, coming to you from Studio 2 at RWP 98.7, 98.3, and streaming live over the internet. Clint,
Is
how's
here.
it going? Present and accounted for?
Present and accounted for.
Excellent.
Your worship?
Excellent. No worship here.
No, there's none anywhere.
Yeah, that's
hey,
for sure.
question.
Go for it.
Go for it.
What's your question?
Why can't I be beautifully late?
No one's ever beautifully late. You can only be late.
Yes, but that's that in itself, you'd call that like a prime negative.
If you're late, you're late.
Okay, you're late.
Exquisitely late? Beautifully late?
No, see, when I said to you the other day that I was beautifully late,
Yeah.
and you said no, you can only just be late.
Yes.
Well, if I choose to be beautifully late, I'm making a negative situation a positive thing.
It's still late. Doesn't matter.
But it's about your perspective.
Well, maybe. But now there's no such thing as beautifully late. No. Don't agree.
I was beautifully late.
Nope. Not at all. No. Anyway.
Oh man, this isn't happening at all. He thinks it's happening.
Longtime Trump business partner Matt
Yes.
told family he knows he and the President of the United States are going to prison.
I seriously doubt that.
Felix Sater,
Yeah.
have you heard of Felix?
No.
He's one of Trump's shadiest former business partners, is reportedly preparing for prison time.
We're at Club Fed.
Well, Trump recently made remarks that he could point to a money laundering scheme. I mean, it's impossible.
Oh, look.
Or is it possible?
No. He'll pardon himself.
You can't pardon. Your president can't pardon
Well,
themselves.
then what you do is you set up a vice president that can come in and become president, and they pardon you, just like Gerald Ford pardoned Richard Nixon. That's the way they do it.
Well, Sater has allegedly had a long history of legal troubles. No, nothing new there.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. Is cooperating with the law at the moment and the feds, and it turns out at this point in time he's one of the major players responsible for selling Trump's condos to the Russians.
Okay.
So he has a lot of inside business dealings.
Well, that would make sense.
So, yeah, he went home, told his family he's off to prison.
Well, that remains to be seen, but there's a lot going on with that. And as we said a long time ago, and we'll continue to say it, you ain't seen nothing yet. They're just getting warmed up as far as I'm concerned when it comes to all that stuff. Well, folks, hopefully you've had a really good week, and you can settle in, relax, and we can try to wax philosophic and help you out by telling you some of the things we've been studying up on this week and a little bit of the research we've been doing, and from there we can take it. And first and foremost, this week we have to mention a couple of people who have moved on beyond the veil, so to speak. And one of them is one of my favorites, Dick Gregory.
I was shocked.
So was I.
I was shocked because you had him lined up for an interview.
Yeah, and normally what he would do, he's been in the hospital before and things have gone on before, but this time nobody was really expecting him to take off, and he just did. And all of the people that were actually in his hospital room on Saturday were saying the fact that he was joking, jovial, doing the exact same thing he normally does, except that he didn't get up.
How about for the next 6 minutes, you tell everyone about Dick Gregory?
Well, I can tell you what. Dick Gregory, black activist, but an entrepreneur as well. A comedian, and broke the color barriers back in the 1950s and the 1960s insofar as being able to not just play in black nightclubs, but also do the crossover work and play in the downtown clubs, at the white nightclubs as well. He was on television in his early career and was a barrier breaker when it came to the Jack Paar show and things like that were going on. Before Johnny Carson and those things, you had the Jack Paar show, was the Tonight Show. And it was well known that on the Jack Paar show, like in Johnny Carson, they had a couch. And the person would come up to a comedy routine or something like that, then sit on the couch and converse. But with a lot of the singers and entertainers that were black, they could sing, but then they weren't allowed to sit on the couch. They wanted Dick Gregory on the Jack Paar show, and he said the only way I'm going to do that show is if, after I do my routine, I get to sit on the couch and we can converse. And so they said they wanted him, and so that happened. And so he raised that ceiling for a lot of black entertainment. But then what he did, which was really interesting, he was at the point where he was making somewhere in the 1960s, he was making between $3 and $4 million a year.
In the 1960s?
In the 1960s.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, as a comedian, as an entertainer, he gave...
That's Richard Pryor kind of money,
insane.
Isn't it?
It's beyond Richard Pryor. Yeah. But what he ended up doing was he stopped all of that. He gave that up because he wanted to get involved more in the civil rights movement. So all of a sudden, he took a lot of his money and he spent it on supplies, medical supplies and things like that, sending them into the South, into Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, etc., to help out the civil rights movement. Was very good friends with Dr. Martin Luther King, knew everything that was going on around Medgar Evers when he was murdered, knew all about Malcolm X when he got murdered up in New York, was very involved and was very politically active. So a full rounded life. In his later years, actually in 1968, not in his later years, he actually ran for president of the United States. He actually, for a minute, they had a glitch in the computer system out of Pennsylvania and gave him an extra 9 million votes, and it actually showed him winning. So they had to do something about that. He wrote, he's an author, movies, name it, he did it. But the thing that he always did, which is near and dear to our hearts, was he also was into, for lack of a better term, conspiracy theory. But he wasn't really into conspiracy theory. What he was into was research. And what he did was take a lot of his money, and he used that money to do research. And he researched all kinds of medical things that were going on. He was into cancer research. He was into vaccinations and vaccine research. He was into research when it came to breast cancer, especially with women and everything like that, and what was actually going on. A lot of the things he researched were cutting edge, and what he did was came up with something that could help individuals lose weight and also get the amount of protein they needed, and he came up with a thing called the Bohemian Diet. It was a formula he came up with that he called 4X, and not the beer.
I didn't say it.
Yeah, you were thinking.
I did. I did.
I know.
I did.
But what he did with this formula, it made him even more money than when he was into entertaining, because he was able to take this formula and go to governments and actually use it in places like Ethiopia and other countries in Africa to help kids with malnutrition and things along those lines. So a very rounded, well-rounded life, a very knowledgeable. One of the things he did that a lot of people don't know, some may, but a lot of people don't know, anytime you hear John Lennon's song Imagine, the person who came up with that idea and actually talked to John and Yoko about what was going on in the world at the time and gave him the impetus to write that song was Dick Gregory. He was the one who said Imagine, no possession, etc., etc. That was Dick Gregory talking with John and Yoko, and then John Lennon actually went out and wrote that song. So this is the kind of man that Dick Gregory was. In his advanced years, he got to the point where he wouldn't take any guff. If you said something he didn't like, he would get up and curse you for it.
Can we just pause for a second?
Yeah.
I remember when you told me that we were about to interview Dick Gregory. And that was it last year or the start of this year?
Last year.
And you warned me and you said, what was it? You said, don't say anything. I think you gave me a list of a couple of different things to not approach him about.
There are certain things that if you mention it...
And I'm like, who's this cat? What are you talking about?
The way he thinks about it is this. He says, he would say to any person that has a microphone and a pulpit, what he would say to them is, look, you have, with your microphone, the ability to reach a whole lot of people. Don't worry about ceremony and the fluff. Get down to the research, do the research, and present that information to people. Don't worry about what the people in Hollywood think. Don't worry about what the musicians think. It's irrelevant. Talk to the people that are doing the cutting-edge research and get their opinions before you worry about what anybody that is acting in a movie or playing on a sporting field says. Basically, they are bound and gagged. Don't worry about it.
Why would anybody care about the opinion of a movie star?
You would be surprised
it's as valid,
how many people in the United States
it's as valid
do.
as your local plumber's opinion.
that was the way he thought about it, but a lot of people didn't think about it that way, so it was a very fascinating way you would have to approach any interview you did with him. So we'll miss the fact that we didn't get to interview him, and we'll miss him because he was a great individual.
I am a little bit disappointed because he was one of the ones that did get away. Is what Maxwell Smart would say?
Well, missed it by that much.
Missed it by that much.
Missed it by that much.
But guys, that is the way it goes. But a lot of information that he left behind, so that can be presented to you, and it will be over the weeks to come. So that in and of itself is worth it. But he will be greatly missed, and the work he did is greatly appreciated. So we will take a break, and we will come back with more of Beyond 3D. Beyond 333D.
Welcome back tonight to another edition of Beyond 3D, Matt.
Indeed.
Tell me about the rest of this week gone.
Oh, most of the time was spent talking about a certain person who went to Phoenix, Arizona and acted like a fool, including insulting both senators from that state, which I thought was absolutely amazing.
Can I slip a caveat in here?
Yes, you can.
Haven't watched the media this week. I haven't not looked at mainstream media at all. Even the alternative news, I've sort of done a little bit of a step back from. Fair enough. When you're saying this, it's like I'm hearing it for the first time.
Okay, well, here's the thing. There is nothing new under the sun.
I'm literally hearing this for the first time.
Okay, there is nothing new under the sun. Suffice it to say, because people will honestly get tired of it, he did not disappoint.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, total control. Bing, bing, bong, bong. You know what that is, right?
Cool.
It's the usual stuff.
But that's what I don't understand. Surely he can watch the late night hosts on TV taking the piss out of him.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then stop and think to himself, the way I conduct and hold myself and conduct my actions is cannon fodder for all these comedians. Surely something I must do has to change so that my perception of being a fool changes.
Well, here's the thing about Donald Trump, and I think this would put it in a nutshell for everybody out there, hopefully, and you'll understand where he's coming from. There are 5 main groups of people he cannot stand. Yeah. I'm specifically talking United States, but here's what they
Can
are.
we put them all in as anyone that's not...
Just a second, you'll see what I'm talking about.
I can see where you're going.
All right, now, black people is on the list. Hispanics would be on the list.
Yeah, well...
All right, Asians would be on the list. Native people would be on the list. And the 5th group of people on the list, and nobody would think about it, but it is true, it is the white folks. Donald Trump is...
The poor.
No. In general.
What?
He is... Listen.
What?
Donald Trump is a narcissist and a sociopath, and the fact of the matter is, he will have friends from every one of those 5 groups.
Of course he would.
Now,
Bing, bing, bong, bong.
if you're not in that group, you're out. You're vile. That is the way this person thinks. He is in his own little bubble. If you understand that, this is what is going on.
Okay.
If you are in his group, you're in his group. It doesn't matter what you are. If you are not in that group, forget it.
Bing, bing, bong, bong.
Goodbye. Stay away. That is the way a person like that thinks. And the thing about it is, there are a whole lot of people who feel the exact same way he does. It is their world. They don't have to worry about the minions crawling around the streets of the major metropolitan areas around the world, and they don't care. So, what you're seeing when you see anybody like that, and they have a pulpit like he has, you're going to see them say whatever they want to say, do whatever they want to do. They don't care.
How do you think Kellyanne Conway copes?
That the president is called a goon, a thug, mentally ill.
Oh, who cares?
No. Genuine question.
Yeah.
That's a genuine question.
And that's my genuine answer. Who cares? Don't give a damn what she thinks.
No,
in my opinion,
I'm interested. I'm interested, Matt, in I'm not going to use the word normal. A person who has a social circle of friends and family, we'd call them an average person, would not be able to survive in that kind of an environment. You take a certain type of person with a certain type of demeanour and characteristic to be able to thrive in that kind of environment.
Question for you.
Yes, go.
The person you just mentioned. Who did she work for before Donald Trump? I know who.
Robert Mercer.
Now, Robert Mercer, hedge fund manager, one of his businesses, funded Donald Trump's campaign from behind the scenes, funded Breitbart from behind the scenes.
And yet, by funding that, isn't that where Bannon came from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Kellyanne Conway was also on this person, Mercer's payroll.
So she's already on the Trump's gravy train before he hooked up to it.
What she's there doing, in my opinion, is she is one of the watchers.
Yeah, so she's
reporting back on what's going on.
She's at the back of the caboose.
Just reporting on what's going on.
Kellyanne Conway.
And Mercer is a piece of work.
Bringing up the rear.
And he's another person that hates groups of people. But it's not just like Donald Trump. He's a little bit more extreme, shall we say, in his hatreds.
They're interesting.
Yeah.
Bing, bing, bong, bong.
So this is what's going on with that. But the fact of the matter is, what's going to happen is...
Bring it home, Matt.
Everything will basically get taken care of as long as we're not blown to smithereens. He will only serve one term as president.
I'm giving that whole blow to smithereens no energy. No energy.
No, so I'm not worried about it in that regard. We also this week got to watch His Royal Highness look up at the solar eclipse without the sunglasses on.
Did he?
On 6 occasions.
Did he?
Yes, he did.
Bing, bing, bong, bong.
Yes, he did.
It's like a little kid with a box of matches. You just got to take them off him, don't you?
Take them off him. What else is going on this week? That was a very interesting eclipse.
Someone should have told him that that's where unicorns come from when the sun and the moon cross over, just so he could stare longer. Give himself a solar lobotomy.
Bing, bing, bong, bong.
Yeah, well, a lot of people, everybody got through the eclipse. Obviously, we're talking to you. So the thing about it that was interesting was there were some very interesting little phenomena seen around the eclipse as it was going on, aka the usual stuff. A lot of UFOs were flying by.
Can I, let me just, you keep talking. I'm just flipping through my phone because I'm going to show you something.
UFOs were flying by, and if you're going to show me what I think you're going to show me, and it has to do with crop circles.
No. Well, no, but we can talk about crop circles later.
Okay, there was a nice one of those. And so there was a lot of good things going on this weekend so far as the universe putting on a show for us.
What time was the eclipse Thursday night in Australia? There's a reason I asked that question, because I'm going to show you something on my phone.
I'm looking it up because I honestly don't know. What time did it happen in the States?
Yeah. So if it was 6 p.m. Thursday night, what are they, 11 hours back?
I don't go backwards. I do it a different way. Right now...
Oh, come on, Professor.
If it's 7, it's a little after 7. What time is it here?
Oh, let's just say it. Let's just say it's 5:45 right now.
All right, if it's 5:45, it would be 3:45 in the morning.
Okay. So...
The eclipse happened at what time? It was... or New York-ish. Or the East Coast. Call it 1:25. The sun completely obscured was on the East Coast would have been at 1:30 p.m.
Do you want to see? I went out.
Which would be 3:30 in the morning here.
Okay. I went out as the sun was going down.
Yeah.
So as the sun was verging into the eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
Took a little photo at the front of my house.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at that.
You've got orbs.
And I had another
green orbs.
I had another friend with me who was taking photo of the sunset as well.
Mm-hmm.
And got those orbs higher in the sky in different positions. And as they were taking more photos like I was, the orbs were changing positions. And they just disappeared up in the sky.
Interesting.
I might pop that on the Facebook page.
I think you should. Reason being, there are a lot of videos out and people are sending them into different sites and things like that, UFO sites, because a lot of different little ships were seen flying around, including a boomerang ship that has been seen near the International Space Station as well. So there's a whole lot of goodies going on during this eclipse time.
That one will come back.
Well, you would think. It's a boomerang.
you got that one nice and slow there, Adam.
Slow. Real slow. But yeah, so the eclipse was something that happened this past week, and quite frankly, it threw people off. I think people were a little bit spaced before it and a little bit spaced after it, the energy of it and what was going on. And I still, for the life of me, cannot believe that people, after watching something that could perfectly obscure the sun like that, aka the moon, actually thinks the moon isn't artificial. Weird to me. But we can just...
Nothing weird about it, mate. People still think the Earth's flat.
No, they don't.
No, people still think the Earth's flat.
No, I won't say that.
No, don't say that.
We'll be back in a moment, folks.
Beyond.
333 D.
Hello, Control. This is 86. I have vital information for you. Come in, Control.
Bing, bing, bong, bong.
Welcome back tonight to another edition of Beyond 3D, Matt.
I was going to say stupid people, but I didn't.
Now, you were talking about crop circles.
Yeah, there was a really interesting crop circle that popped up, and I'll put a picture of it on the Facebook page, from England, very close to an airport. And when you look at it, it looks like that. It looks like a sun or a planet being eclipsed, and it also looks like a television tower. And there are some very lovely little symbols in it that look like writing. And if you've ever seen anything on Star Trek or Star Wars when they look like Klingon or Romulan or something like that there, it actually looks like those kind of symbols. Fascinating.
They look like
Cuneiform?
cuneiform.
Yeah.
They look like cuneiform.
Ancient Sumerian or those kind of texts and things like that. So it's fascinating, that whole way that looks.
But when you look at it,
Yeah.
usually a signal starts off small and then gets wider as it leaves. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like what's coming out. It's like something's coming out, like a signal, like that's information coming out through. And like, I don't know, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 different rings in the planet.
And then based on what's going on the planetary scale, there is information, as you say. It looks like a cone of information is coming out from that sphere.
Yeah, it's a magnificent, absolutely magnificent.
We'll put it up in people.
Usually, crop circles are symmetrical or have some beautiful, intricate, symmetrical designs woven through them. This one is sort of asymmetrical, but the data coming out looks very random. But I know, and anybody looking at this tonight would know that that's actually a message. There's information there.
Yeah, there is, but what is that information is what needs to be looked into.
Sutton Hall
in England. A lot of them over in the European areas and in England. A lot of crop circles are always being formed there, and you can get into the nuances of crop circle formation. And some people say that if there are some probably university students that got together, put blocks on their feet, and went slashing through fields, and they can make crop circles. But they can't do what these. They couldn't even come close to doing that.
Let me give you a scale comparison.
Yep.
Because I've just opened another picture of it. I'm going to put this one on the Facebook page too, just for scale comparison.
Yep.
There's no way people with boards tied to their feet are frog marching through the wheat field to create this intricate design when you have a look at the size of it next to the castle that is in the next block.
Yep.
I
can totally agree with that.
Yeah. That would take days.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and anybody that's filming these over in London, wherever they find them, what we need, and it's hard to do.
That's a castle.
Yes, I know, but it's hard to do. But you got to understand something. And they said this appeared overnight.
That's a big house. Sorry, it's not a castle. It's a massive house.
Yeah, so you would hope that somebody could have time-lapse photography showing the field before.
I've seen one.
The field after, and you can actually see how long it took for something like that to form. And once you see how large that is and the scale of that, you would know there is no way that was made by a bunch of drunk college kids.
No.
Not even close.
No. But there you go. Crop circles. Crop circles are back again.
They are back, and they are back in fine style, quite frankly.
But there's a lot of same happening in the world at the moment that was happening about 30 years ago.
All right, 30 years ago. Oh, my.
Yeah. Oh, no.
The 80s.
No, sorry. Keep going.
The 70s?
Keep going.
The 60s?
Keep going.
The 50s?
Yeah.
Well,
There's a lot of same happening right now.
The Make America Great Again. That's what they wanted to do, was take the United States back to the 50s.
I'm not talking about...
You're talking about down here in the land of Oz.
I'm not talking about El Presidente Stupido.
Bing, bing, bong, bong. You know what that is, right?
I'm talking...
45.
Because you'd be in jail.
Yeah, 45 cold.
Yeah, 45 cold. No, I'm talking about in the world in general. Nuclear conflict, the atomic bombs again, high UFO sightings, crop circles are back.
Space race to the moon and Mars.
Space race to Mars.
Yeah. So, we're repeating history again, huh? Mm-hmm. What does that mean? We're doomed.
Well,
If you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. But
beautifully doomed?
Yeah, ha ha ha. Now, the thing is, with history, everybody says if you don't study history, you're doomed to repeat it. But the fact of the matter is, you have to find out that you are studying the correct history and not a fallacy. And therefore, big difference. What is history? Who wrote this history? And did they have an agenda? And most of the time, you will find that they have an agenda. Getting back to Brother Dick Gregory and the fact that he was in Mississippi doing a lot of work during the Civil Rights Movement in the 60s. Most people don't know this, but slavery ended in the United States after the Emancipation Proclamation, so around 1863, 5, and through there. So a few hundred and coming up on 150 years ago, let's say. Question for you. You might know this, Clint, you might not, and this is why people still feel the way they do. The states had to ratify the 13th Amendment of the Constitution, which ended slavery. Please tell me, and you know the Emancipation Proclamation, so we're talking the 1860s here. Please tell me when the state of Mississippi ratified the 13th Amendment to end slavery, if you had to guess. Oh, wait.
18...
It's a trap!
Oh, no, hang on. No, it'd be in the 1900s. 1928.
Keep going.
Okay, no. I'm not going to play this guessing
Take
game.
one more guess and make it a big jump.
1972.
2013.
Shut up. Are you joking?
I am not joking. That is why people feel the way they do. It took that... That's what I'm talking about.
Wow.
2013.
Wow.
This is the thing. Slavery ended in the 1860s. The state of Mississippi ratified the 13th Amendment ending slavery in 2013. August of 2013. Pathetic beyond description. But this is the kind of stuff the people are dealing with over there. So when you say we've gone back, what do we have to go through here coming up that should be coming up in our mailboxes soon?
No, it's the whole ridiculous plebiscite.
Yes, plebiscite.
Oh man, this isn't happening. It only thinks it's happening.
Love it. And guess what happens if we don't do it?
Yeah, it's stingus. Cashola.
A lot of cash.
Cashola sting.
They're trying to stop people from voting in the United States, and if you don't vote here, they fine you. Go figure that one. That will always, to me, be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. You know, unbelievable. But yes, the things that we have to vote on, and we're not going to get into the argument on what it is about, because that's not what our show is about, per se.
No, it is about gay marriage. Mm-hmm. But you can't call it gay marriage. It's just two people that love each other. Mm-hmm. That's just two people that love each other. Why can't they get married?
Yeah, and?
Hang on. I'll wait for the crickets.
The fact of the matter is...
There's no and.
The fact of the matter is, people have different opinions. Now, to me, what it means is this. What is, as far as government and state is concerned, what is marriage?
It's a contract with the government. Mm-hmm. That
Why would anybody want a contract with the government?
Yeah, I know. I get that. But, yeah, it's a contract with the government.
Mm-hmm. What does it give them? Do you know?
An opportunity to tax you.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, more.
Yeah, exactly.
More.
Are you kidding?
And more.
Unbelievable. But this is what people want?
Well, actually, then they build a straw man off you as well.
Yeah, well, you know that's the way it is. Everybody, when you're born, this is back to our good old stuff here. What happens when
Hang on, we got time for this?
We do. What happens when you're born?
Yeah, go on.
What happens when you're born?
You get a birth certificate.
Okay, do we need to take a break?
No.
Okay, cool.
You got, I'll give you 2 more minutes.
Oh, thank you. So kind of you. Well.
Straw man.
Yes. The birth certificate has a QSIP number on it.
Yes.
And that QSIT number is then taken, in the United States at least, it's taken down to a certain street.
It's taken here too.
Yeah, 4 letters in the name of the street in New York, Wall Street. And what they actually do, and people don't know this, but this is what happens, they take that birth certificate and the government, the United States government, is allowed to issue $1 million worth of treasury bonds against the fact that you were just born.
That's just how they keep printing money, though.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the whole thing is contracts. It's all about maritime law, contracts, and if you want to get involved in that, please feel free. But there are a whole lot of people out there that would like to move as far away from that and remain a sovereign individual as they possibly could. And
Because you're born into a system you didn't ask to be a part of. So the contract then is, if you don't like it, go somewhere else. But the thing is, there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, true.
Where do you go that isn't governed by tax?
Well, there are a few places, but those places are on the list. And all the people from the other countries want you not to be anywhere near that list. So basically what it comes down to is they want to cut. Their rates are worse than the mob, and you'd be better off paying protection money to the mob. They have cheaper rates, but the fact of the matter is most governments... Now, we can understand this. If you were living in a system, Australia, you have health care. You can have, let's say they have it properly, education, health care, housing, and things like that. You can understand paying a tax to maintain a system that is for the benefit of everyone.
Yes.
But if you're in a country and they take your tax dollars and you still have to deal with health care and you still have to deal with housing and you still have to deal with the fact that you're not able to get work and you still have to deal with the fact that they're taking your tax dollars and using them to create really nice toys known as weapons, and they can go around the world and manipulate other people, it's a totally different scenario.
That is another big Pandora's box that we don't have time for right now.
No, we don't have time for it, but one day we might. But suffice it to say that anytime the government wants you to do something, run.
Beyond
3D.
Welcome back tonight to another edition of Beyond 3D. MUFON. Hang on.
Ooh, MUFON.
No. I'm not. I just said MUFON. I wasn't gonna.
Did you mean move on?
No.
Or MUFON?
I said MUFON.
Yeah. Okay.
MUFON.
The Mutual UFO Network.
The Mutual UFO Network, which sometimes isn't that mutual.
Sometimes it's mutually exclusive, but no, it's not too. So what have they been up to? Didn't they have a big to-do, a big hoo-ha?
I don't follow them.
Oh, they had something going on.
I don't follow them intentionally.
Well, I don't blame you. But as far as that is concerned, there is another person that decided to leave the building recently, and we can talk about him, and that would be William Tompkins.
Excuse me, what?
Yeah, William Tompkins.
Are you joking?
Last week, yeah, I'm not joking. And so we're talking about the whistleblower.
We've got a podcast lined up to drop that's got a full William Tompkins interview. So I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
We've got it there. We've got a good back catalogue of interesting stuff, Matt.
Absolutely. We'll get it out there.
No. We're not far away. I've been saying this for ages.
No, but you mean it this time.
I mean it this time because we're coming up on 100 shows.
That's the way.
Let's just say that. Let's just leave that there.
But the thing about Mr. Tompkins,
Bill.
those people, he was involved with the whole MK Ultra kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
He was involved with
MK Ultra.
And worked, as he put it, with aliens from other worlds.
And he also, as a child, bear witness to the UFO battle that happened over California. Los Angeles. Yeah.
So another person with a lot of personal hands-on experience has decided to take a hike. I don't blame him.
He's gone on to experience more, Matt.
Yeah. You learn enough about here and you move on to the next one.
Oh my god, I found a musk stick in my pocket. Do you want one?
Oh, no thanks. I'm not into the musk sticks.
I'm hungry.
You hungry? Oh,
yep.
Speaking of hungry, it's really funny. They confiscated, I think it was over in Europe somewhere, they confiscated some ecstasy tablets that were orange and had a picture of 45 on them.
Bing, bing, bong, bong, total control. Bing, bing, bong, bong. You know what that is, right?
I just visualize that and choke.
I thought that was actually very, very good.
No. Yeah, it's funny, but no. Imagine if... Yeah, no.
Anyway, back to Mr. Tompkins.
I was going to go somewhere with that, but no.
No, back to Bill.
Back to Bill
and the topic at hand, the Thule Society, all of the different things that were going on with the Nazis and UFOs, the Nordic races and UFOs. He was totally into that, did a lot of research on that, and just, you know, a treasure trove of information when it comes to ufology.
He,
amazing.
About an hour, I think the interview with him goes for, from memory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I played it on a weekend that you were away. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I didn't mean to point at you then. That was rude. It's yeah, I played it on a weekend that you were away.
Mm-hmm. But this is the thing. Guys like this are leaving. We're getting up to that age where these guys are getting closer and closer to it. What we'll do in his honor, we'll put up a picture, one of the pictures from the Battle of Los Angeles on the Facebook page as well. So people can take a look at that. And that was basically the February of 1942. So you can take a look at that and the different things that have been going on. Now, there was another interesting photograph that came up that I saw on, where was it? It was either YouTube or Facebook, but over Phoenix, Arizona again. And there was a very nice little formation that came up before 45's speech.
Because you'd be in jail.
Yeah, 45 Colt.
And there have been a lot of different, well, we've said this earlier, there's been a lot of formations, not just the TR3B thingy triangle things.
The TRB3 or TR3B?
3B, B3.
The TB3R.
Yeah, TB, whatever. Those triangle-y looking things that fly in the sky, and then the big ball of light comes on in the middle of it as they're moving all over the place. Yeah.
It's spectacular.
When you can see them, yeah. But that... a lot of people have been seeing a lot of those kinds of things as well. So it's just a shame. It's not a shame. It's saddening to know that people like that are moving on, but that is life as we know it in this light frequency, so we just have to deal with it as best we can. But there's a lot of information out there, though.
Jim Mars the other week.
Jim Mars the other week as well, yeah.
And Bill Tompkins this week. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
So what happens when they all... This is what I'm thinking.
Who's going to carry on the torch?
Exactly.
Who's going to pick up the mantle?
Yes,
who's going to do that research? Who's going to keep it going?
Yes. I think it'll come to... I don't know.
There's a lot of people that are out there doing the work.
The dark flog.
No, it's you know, Duncan up in...
Duncan does, yes.
Does a lot of
Good evening, Duncan.
Work. He does a lot of the work up there. He knows a lot of the people that are involved in the industry. He knows a lot of the people that are doing the research, so he's the kind of person that can take that up and move on with it.
And people like Pete.
Yeah, Mr. Slattery as well. There are a lot of people out there that are doing this work. Mr. Devlin over in England as well is doing the work. And his podcast is out, and we'll have to start linking to his podcast as well.
Good evening, Mark.
There's a lot of guys out there that are doing really good work, and I just saw another one that was really interesting, all the ghost hunters out there. June Lundgren was doing a good job. She was over in England with Howard Hughes.
I'm going to give a shout out to Chris Turner.
And Chris, absolutely. Howard Hughes and Chris, they would know each other as well over there in England. And June is from Oregon, and she went over to do Howard Hughes' radio show over in London, and she actually went in and did a purge of a very dark entity.
Yeah, I was hanging around Howard.
I put it up this past week, because as soon as I saw her put it up, I put it up on our Facebook page.
Where was it?
Oh, in one of the older places in England.
Okay.
I'll look at it. I'll look it up. Well, anyway, it'll be on the Facebook page again. I'll repost it for this weekend in case anybody missed it, because it's fascinating, because you listen to it and hear exactly what's going on. It's fascinating to hear.
Oh, hang on. What was that thing you put on Facebook this week?
They're standing at the staircase.
Yes.
It's Howard Hughes and June.
Right, that's what it was.
Yes.
Yes. I did not know what it was, because all you wrote was the word something negative.
Did I?
Yeah. You just wrote the word negative.
I didn't write negative.
You and I are going to throw down in a minute.
No, we're not. I didn't write negative.
I'm having a look.
He's having a look.
I'm very rarely wrong, Matt. But I am always right. Okay. You didn't write the word negative, but the word negative is written there.
Where? Removal of negative.
Does it not say negative?
Yeah, but I didn't write it.
Negative is negative.
Negative is negative. Anyways,
Because late is late.
June Lundgren, she's an author as well, and she has done quite a bit of work insofar as removing negative entities, elementals, and demons from, was that Hampstead Heath?
No, Hampton Court Palace.
Hampton Court?
Hampton Court.
Okay, cool. Okay.
Hampton Court.
Hampton Court. Anyway,
Court.
there's a lot of ghosts and things like that around, and also a lot of real baddies. And you know the real baddies from the ghosts, where ghosts, you know, you can hear rattling and everything like that. If you're around a real baddie, guess what? You know what you feel first?
Yeah, your legs getting slashed. Because sometimes they do sometimes they do draw blood.
They look. There's some hags out there and banshees that can scratch your face if you're not careful, and I'm not kidding. It does happen, and you can. But anyway, when you get around a real baddie, it is extremely cold.
Yes.
I mean, you just get that cold going
but you can see your breath too.
Yeah, it's extremely cold, and she can get rid of them.
Beautifully cold.
Oh, here we go again with the beautiful.
She can get rid of them.
Yes, she's very good at it. She's very good at it. So yeah, but
can we get her in here and talk?
Yeah,
can we talk?
We can talk to her. Absolutely, I'll set that up.
I want to hear the bad stories.
Why?
Because they're more entertaining.
Bad stories more entertaining. It's like my daughter when she talks about she has to watch Teen Wolf and all these crazy shows that are on because all the negatives in the Vampire Diaries and the...
Yeah, but that's just schlock.
Yes, it is schlock. It is, but, you know...
She wouldn't like me saying that, would she? She wouldn't be very... She doesn't even listen. What am I talking about?
Yeah, you kidding me? We're on the air, and what's she doing? She's listening to some crazy new music that they all listen to these days, and... whatever the 14-year-olds are into these days, musically and television show-wise, that's what they're doing. They wouldn't dare listen to anything about conspiracy theories, even though they should.
Well, some do. Some are switched on. Mine are.
Give it time. They will have no choice. They will have no choice. So there again, another person's leaving this week. A lot of people left. Everybody knows about, or at least should have heard about Jerry Lewis leaving as well.
Pish
but you
posh.
know, pish posh, yeah. Nice lady. Anyway, so
Don't. Do you know when I... Don't make me laugh. I'm going to choke.
hey, what are you going to do?
Oh, I can't breathe.
Okay.
When I was a kid,
Yes.
and he was on the Sunday movies, I used to think that there was something seriously wrong with him. Until I realised one day it was part of his act, but that wasn't until I got a bit older.
Yeah, well.
I couldn't work out why this man had a TV show on every Sunday, but he... Can you do the impersonation again?
Nice lady.
Hello, lady!
Exactly. So, no, but he was very entertaining, quite frankly. Depends on what movie.
No, he turned into a real curmudgeon when he got older.
Yeah, in a sense, but the fact of the matter is he tried to do a lot of good work as well with the Muscular Dystrophy Association and everything he would do with the telethons every year in the States.
Muscular dystrophy.
No, not musk that you're eating musk. If you want, I have sour watermelon if you want that instead.
You keep your watermelon.
All right. Yeah, alrighty. Sour watermelon. They taste very nice when they're sour. You get that, and then you get the nice flavor going down. It's very good. Anyway, so yeah, there are a whole lot of people leaving the sphere of influence, namely the Earth, and moving on and leaving us to deal with the lovely things that are going on the planet. Earthquakes, major typhoon that just hit.
Let's deal with that at the back of this break.
Fair enough.
Beyond 3D. Welcome back tonight to another edition of Beyond 3D. Matt was about to fill us all in about a big typhoon that happened this week.
Yeah, Typhoon Hato.
And
killed a few people, hit Macau, that means no more gambling. And
well, hang on, how bad was Macau? A lot happened this week when I decided to unplug.
Yeah, you unplug and everything goes to, as they say, you know.
I know what they say.
Do. Anyway, it hit in Hong Kong and Macau. 12 people lost their lives. Winds, rain.
Just Hong Kong?
Southern China, the southern Chinese area where Hong Kong and Macau are, going up into the new territories, etc.
I'm going to have to look into this because I'm really down with what HAARP can do.
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, they haven't
What's
seen one
China
like this in
at the moment,
very
though?
long time.
What's China? Yeah, that's when you need to start paying attention, is when they go quiet.
Well, what's China up to?
Yeah, what's China up to at the moment? I'm just thinking out loud. What's China up to at the moment? that it would need a kick in the bum
Don't know.
to fall in line?
Well, I know that they just said to the United States that they want them to remove any sanctions from North Korea, or else. Therefore, the United States might have turned HAARP on them and said, we'll remove this, for lack of a better term, and they might have done something along those lines.
I do remember... Oh, boy, really stretching the grey matter here tonight, folks. Okay, I got it. Okay. So you were talking about...
I was talking about Hong Kong, Macau, and Guangdong province and the fact that they got wiped by Typhoon Hato.
I remember Benjamin Fulford.
I know that name.
Benjamin Fulford was talking a couple of years ago about Japan wouldn't come to the party on some economic sanction that the US was trying to get it to do. That's when it got hit with its tsunami.
Okay.
And he was trying to prove at the time that one was glove and one was hand. Yeah.
Interesting.
That just popped into my brain just then.
Okay.
Hidden agendas.
Well, he's been busy, and he's into his hidden agendas, looking at YouTube and all those kinds of things. So, yeah.
He's kind of like from the Kerry Cassidy camp. If there is a camp.
Well,
Cheetah camp.
we'll have to find out. There's a lot of guys out there that are from certain camps these days, and they're all trying to position themselves for the game of the century. But yeah, so this week, as far as news and reviews and all that kind of thing is going on, there was a lot of interesting things happening. We also had to deal with that eclipse, and we also have to deal with what will come next. And what will come next should be very interesting.
World's top artificial intelligence companies, Matt, are currently pleading for a ban on killer robots.
Killer robots.
Well, I don't think DARPA will be too happy with that. That's pretty much what their up-and-coming bread and butter is going to be all about.
DARPA. God bless them.
DARPA.
Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, what are you up to now, you bugger?
No, well, there's a next revolution in warfare. I honestly believe will be killer robots or autonomous weapon systems.
Well, that would actually make sense, because that way you could just literally have your physical human army defending your borders, and you can send, like drones, you can send robots into the field.
Packed with GM miniguns. Could you imagine that? Just a robot with treads, just treading its way through the desert. Just GM minigunning the Taliban.
The Taliban. When are these people going to learn? They're not. Which is why
I'm not condoning this in any sense, but they do it with drones.
They do that right now, and it's just, in my opinion, just a shame. We should be beyond this. The technology is such that we could basically, we've discussed this before, we could basically feed everyone, house everyone, clothe everyone, and people can actually work on evolving themselves.
Toby Walsh is the professor of artificial intelligence, Matt, at the University of New South Wales.
Okay.
In an open letter by 116 founders of robotics and artificial intelligence companies from 26 countries, was launched at the world's biggest artificial... Why are you looking at me like that? The world's biggest artificial intelligence conference. The International Joint Conference on Artificial Intelligence, as the UN delays meeting until later this year to discuss the robot arms race. That's the next big thing.
And when you think about it, that's why we're talking about cars with autopilots, like in Tesla. That's why they're talking about taking a lot of different things that we would have to handle as human beings and automating it.
Sarah Connor.
There we go. The Terminator. But that's what's going on. That's a shame. You know, not a good way. There's better ways. You should be using this to... That kind of technology should be used to be going to Mars and going beyond that and to finding out what's going on in these different spectrums.
Come on.
But no, they're not going to do it.
No, because there's no money in it for them.
Money again. Money. It's just ridiculous. And what's with Australia trying to hold off on Bitcoin?
Whoa, buddy, why are you throwing all that hate my way? Throw that shade somewhere else, pal.
Well, bring in, what's his face? Short
I'm not responsible for Bitcoin.
Unbelievable, these guys trying to,
Oh, by the way,
get in and on it.
I finally saw what... I finally Was it last? Yeah, it was last Sunday.
Yeah.
It was the last time I was connected to the Matrix.
Yes.
I did see a Bitcoin.
Okay.
I did see. Mm-hmm. They're encased in those Perspex round little protection things, and they've got a big B written on it, and on the back they've got coding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
code's
did
on the
see
back.
one. So when I've been saying to you, it's digital money, you can't touch it. You actually physically can hold it.
No, the thing that they're doing is they're trying to make it.
Why did you
like
never
the
tell
old-
me that?
No, just a second. They're trying to make it seem like you can touch it, you can hold it, you can feel it. But the fact of the matter is, the only thing that matters on that coin is the code. Now, if that code is written on the back of a piece, 1 ounce round of gold, the gold is worth about $1,300 US an ounce, but the Bitcoin is worth about $4,000 US dollars. So the code on the back of that coin is worth $4,000 in the current marketplace right now. Nothing to do with where they put it. That's why you can have it in a wallet sitting on a laptop or on your phone, on a smartphone. And you can send it anywhere in the world and trade with it. That's what it basically comes down to. What they're trying to do by taking that code and putting it onto a physical piece of silver or a physical piece of gold is give something tangible to people they can hold on to, per se. And they're also trying to say, because there's a lot of different cryptocurrencies out there right now, they're trying to say, well, our cryptocurrency is backed by silver, or our cryptocurrency is backed by palladium, platinum, or gold. Basically, the actual code can go to zero and be worth nothing, and therefore you'd be left with a round of silver, or a round of gold, or a round of palladium, or a round of platinum. And it all depends. The currency, get a wallet, put it on your phone, and just buy some Bitcoin and see what happens.
I'd love to know how they do it elsewhere.
What do you mean elsewhere?
Just elsewhere, not here.
What about what Suze said to us a few weeks ago with his version of money?
Dr. Suze.
Yes. That's another way of looking at it.
The U-big system.
It comes down to the fact that all of this stuff is control mechanisms. They want to control the way you do things for the 100 or so years that you're on the planet. That's all that matters to them.
100 or so?
Yeah. Some
Buddy, I'll
people
be
live
like the mate.
beyond.
Yeah, okay.
Some people go beyond that. Some people don't. But, you know, as my teacher used to say, one of my teachers used to say, so what is a 100-year lifetime in the grand scheme of 100,000 years of your spiritual evolution?
It's, I don't know, I'll tell you at the back of this break. Beyond, 3.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Beyond 3D. Matt and Clint still sitting here in Studio 2, waiting for the ghost to arrive.
No, I haven't seen it or felt it lately.
Well, could be on vacation. Long service leave.
Don't laugh about stuff like that.
Long service leave. It was a teacher.
Did you ever see Beetlejuice?
Yes.
So they, you know, like how they go to the afterlife and there's all those waiting rooms and yeah,
But he's not around anyway.
he's held up at a queue somewhere.
Nah, long service leave. It was a teacher. Take a little vacation. Sabbatical.
Sabbatical.
Yeah, that would work. But yeah, so we were discussing...
Last 10 minutes of the show now.
We were discussing Bitcoin a little bit, but don't want to get into a lot of it. What it comes down to is money and controlling people. That is why we are now seeing the Aboriginals are really up in arms. They should be up in arms about the fact that the welfare payments, they want to make them cashless.
That's
That way they
discrimination.
Of course it is. That way they can control exactly what they're buying to make sure they're not buying alcohol or any kind of drugs or gambling it all away.
Do you know what?
It's called choice.
They're a hair's breadth away from controlling their birth.
They're doing that now when you look at the DNA sequencing that they're doing and the
Yeah.
fact that you can have designer kids.
Yep.
They're going to do it with money. When they go cashless, guys, head for the hills. When they go cashless and get back into a barter system, because once it's cashless, all they have to do, if you don't do what they say, they will turn your little card, credit sheet, or whatever off. And you're done. You won't be able to get any goods or services. That'll be the end of you. So you do not want a cashless society.
It's almost a cashless society now.
Well,
almost.
That's our choice, and the fact of the matter is, any person worth their salt knows you always have some cash stashed somewhere that you can get your hands on, because if the EMP pulse goes off and you can't, and all of a sudden the banks are wiped and everything's like that, and they say you have
there's
to
a
have
hack.
something,
A hack.
you have to have some money somehow, and this is the thing. So do not, in any way, shape, or form, you don't want a cashless society. Not the way we're doing things now. Maybe down the track, a little bit easier.
I'll tell you how they I went to pay my phone bill the other week.
Yep.
And my phone provider turned my phone off a day before my bill was due. Now, how can I pay my phone bill using my smartphone if my internet is deactivated a day before my bill's due?
You go to Australia Post.
Yes, but I know. But what I'm saying to you, I'm giving you an example of
Yes,
when
I know.
technology fails you.
Yes. Yeah, it does all the time.
Australia Post.
Well, you know.
Someone's still using the snail mail. Good on them.
Well, that's the way you have to go. Now it's back. Everybody's turning around again and going back toward emails and different things like that.
Letters.
Because
Write someone a letter this week. No, not you, just anyone in general. Write someone a letter this week.
that way they get something. Don't you remember when you were a kid?
I loved it.
At birthday time, you wait for those cards to appear?
No, I never got cards.
Man, you never got... What?
Yeah, no.
Money?
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't get that stuff. I thought you were talking about just like a letter in the mail. Yeah, that was exciting.
Yeah. You like hearing, personally written.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone, write someone a letter this week.
Fair enough. Now you were about to say?
No, let's do a little bit of Dick Gregory.
We'll do a little bit of Dick Gregory? We can find something.
Have a look there, Matt. Let's, you know what? Let's go out tonight. Mm-hmm. Let's go out tonight with a little bit of Dick Gregory.
That's actually a very good idea. That's it, Baba Gregory. God rest his soul. Mr. Tompkins, God rest his soul. Everybody out there, just get some rest. Take it really easy. Clint and I will be back next week with another edition of Beyond 3D.
And here is Dick Gregory tonight, Matt.
We'll let him take us out.
Enjoy.
White folks in this country dirtied up the word black, not us. Angel food cake is white. Devil food cake is dark.
Dick Gregory grew up so poor in St. Louis, he says he joined the track team at school just because the locker rooms had hot showers. Where others saw extreme poverty, Dick Gregory saw a way into difficult conversations with humor as his vehicle.
People would pick on me. And so one day I took everything that they would say about me and I jumped them. I would start saying it about myself. And then all at once, the crowd now is over here with me.
A postal worker by day, at night, Gregory played the black comedy clubs until he hit the jackpot, a spot on stage at Hugh Hefner's exclusive Playboy Club in Chicago.
I was the first Negro comic permitted to work a white nightclub. That had never happened before.
Unfiltered, unafraid, and provocative.
When they say this show features living color, you better believe it.
Dick Gregory broke down color barriers by poking fun at politics, current events, and especially race.
Let's all hear Dick Gregory.
Nothing bugs me no more when I'm demonstrating than to have some cat tell me, "Why don't you get on back where you came from," in a foreign accent.
Black and white audiences took notice.
Football is the only sport in the world a black man can chase a white man in front of 50,000 people and won't start a ride.
But when it came to social justice, it was no laughing matter.
When I go out and demonstrate for social changes, I don't go out to tell jokes.
In the name of civil and human rights, Dick Gregory has been arrested over 150 times, suffered through 60 hunger strikes, and was shot in the leg during the Watts riots.
If we don't make massive changes, this country is doomed.
In 1964, Gregory turned the publishing world upside down with his first autobiography with a controversial title. A year later, Dick Gregory marched from Selma to Montgomery.
And if black America is going to be judged under 65 legislation, and white America is going to be judged under the United States Constitution, that's racial segregation.
Just because you haven't experienced it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.